In this video, I'm going to talk about the spiritual wall. Before I get into it, I want to tell you a little parable in order to illustrate this amazing teaching. A 7-year-old child approaches his mom and he says to her, "Mom, I feel really threatened in the presence of your new lover and your new partner." His mom turns to him and she says, "Sweetie, I've chosen my lover over you." The child feels heartbroken. What? My loving mom has chosen her new partner over me? Child feels heartbroken and he acts up. He kicks a tantrum. And the mom's like, "Why is he kicking a tantrum? I wonder why." That is quite literally what the spiritual wall is all about. When you have reached the peak of spiritual ascension and you're upset and you almost feel like undermined, so to speak, because means of polarity comes crashing upon you. A greater means of polarity, a greater means of discord comes crashing upon you. And you're like, what? I'm a spiritually ascended being. Why am I being faced with unbelievable polarity, unbelievable discord from others? What is going on here? Upset, ravaged with disappointment. You really go back and say, forget about the spiritual journey. I've had it. I've absolutely had enough. Goodbye. You know who that is? That's your innocence, your inner child, your ego speaking. It's saying to you, dear self, I'm quite impressed with your spiritual path, with your spiritual ascension. You know what I'm going to do? Because you've not paid attention to me, because you've ignored me, because you haven't really channeled me in and considered me as part of your spiritual ascension within the alignment of your spiritual ascension. I'm going to throw an ego. I'm going to throw a tantrum. I'm going to put in your pathway, in your paradigm, something you've never been challenged with before. Ha ha ha. That's the story. That's what happens when you reach that spiritual peak, that spiritual wall, and you once again challenge with something you've never been challenged before. It's that inner child, it's the innocent saying to you, darling, if you're not going to integrate me on your spiritual ascension, you don't know what's coming. Another way of that inner child expressing itself is when that inner child says to you, darling, you're nuts. You're delusional. This whole spiritual ascension story, this whole spiritual ascending crap, so to speak, is just junk. Let it go. You're like, what? How could you say that? How do you say that? It's your inner child saying to you, if you're not going to take me along with you on your spiritual ascension, if you're not going to integrate me, if you're not going to align me, if you're not going to make me part of your alignment, just you wait and see how I throw a tantrum. It ain't going to be fun. So what is a good approach to take on your spiritual ascension? First of all, acknowledge your innocence. Acknowledge your ego. You have an ego, and you're going to have that ego as long as you live on this planet. But when you ascend spiritually, that ego serves you. That ego becomes your means of elevation. It becomes your means of being part of the divine, part of the divinity. It doesn't throw tantrums anymore. It's happy because you've noticed it, you've given it attention, and you've cared for it, and you feed for it. What happens when you have food in front of you and you say to that food, thank you, dear food, for using the powers that God has given you through his amazing universe and through you, and hence give me my nutritional needs. What happens thereafter? You eat for a greater purpose. You elevate your soul when you eat. And your ego is helping you ascend to where you have to ascend. Don't kick away that ego. Don't say to the ego, go away. Who needs you on this spiritual paradigm? Absolutely don't do that. Rather, use your ego to ascend. Use every part of your being to ascend, to become independent, to become fully integrated and validated from a deep, deep place from within. And when you have a person in your life who mistreats you, has always mistreated you, don't fight them. Don't beg them for respect. Rather say to them, it was nice meeting you in this lifetime. We shall hence meet in another lifetime. Because if you realize that people who you have known for years have not been able to respect you and treat you cordially, in a nice, respectful manner, you have ascended as a spiritual being now, and you know how much it hurts you as a spiritual being. You know how much it hurts your inner ego, your inner child, your innocence. You need to now go and say, have a nice life. I respect myself. I revere myself. And I'm not going to be somebody else's doormat. Because whilst that person is unable to respect himself, you can't disrespect someone else if you respect yourself. So whilst that person is finding it to be an impossibility to respect himself, I need to look out for my inner child. I'm not going to let that inner child suffer, struggle, and become a doormat. Like the child in the parable. He says to his mom, what are you doing? You've taken on a new lover, but that lover is threatening. That lover is mean, doesn't care for me, is disrespectful towards me. And the mom says to the child, go fly kite. I love you, sweetie, but my lover is more important. That's what happens on the spiritual journey. That's what happens when you ignore your innocence, when you ignore your inner child, when you ignore your ego. So don't ignore your inner child. Respect it and allow it to become part of you and allow it to awaken within you everything that needs to be awakened. Ascend spiritually with every fiber of your being. Ascend and deliver on your ascension. Allow every part of you, allow that inner child within you to be. And say to that inner child, dear inner child, come along with me on this spiritual journey. Help me. I count you in. I like you. I revere you. I love you. I respect you. That's why in the last few days I've been putting out videos about loving yourself, admiring yourself, cherishing yourself, caring for yourself, revering yourself, preserving yourself, and knowing that if you don't do that, if you're not going to do that, you're going to get nowhere. I want to now carry on and incorporate in this message a really beautiful, amazing lesson which I learned from the biblical portion which Jews around the world read in their synagogues on this Saturday. Abraham was in a state of bereavement. He just lost his beloved wife of over 100 years. He was sad. He felt very, very tormented and challenged. He went to bury his wife in the Ephron fields. He approaches the Efronites and they say to him, Abraham, don't worry about it. Just bury her without paying us any money here. That's fine. Abraham says, no, I'm happy to pay. And they upped the price to a very high price, and they wanted the best currency, etc. What do we see from this story? We see from the story what happens when people allow their ego to become part of them. Wait a second. Jessica, didn't you just say I should allow my ego to become fully aligned, part of my alignment, part of my integration on the spiritual path, on the spiritual journey. So why are you now telling off the ego? I shall explain. It's okay to have an ego, but don't allow the ego to merge into the driver's seat. That's the message of this video. It's okay to have an ego. It's okay to keep your innocence. It's okay to respect, revere, and cherish and admire your inner child. But don't allow that inner child to become the driver. That's today's powerful teaching. That's today's amazing message, which will really change your life. Again, I'm telling you, if you take upon yourself these teachings, they will change your life. That's a guarantee. I'm going to be putting out lots more of these type of messages wherein I teach you how to change your life. I've changed my life in many, many ways. Come along with me as I show you how I've changed my life, and I help you change your life in amazing ways. Did you enjoy today's video? Smash the like button. In order so that I can get these teachings out further and further and further. I love helping people. I love giving people a means of self-empowerment. Come along with me and make that possible. Smash the like button. Drop a comment down below, which once again increases the YouTube algorithm and gets this message out further and further and further. Every like, every comment down below spreads this message to the YouTube algorithm. So please drop a comment, smash the like button, press the subscribe button and the little bell notification next to it so that you too could invoke within you these amazing teachings, spiritual awareness, spiritual ascension. Come along with me in this great path. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. I love you.